Looks like it's working. All right. Hey, everybody. Today I want to do a quick lesson. First of all, happy Easter. Hope the Easter Bunny brought you lots of chocolate. And thanks for joining me. And go ahead and say hi in the comments. If you're checking this out, we're going to do a quick saxophone lesson. It's going to be an improvisation lesson, and we're going to talk about just one of many ways that I like to practice jazz improvisation that has helped me get some really good results. And before we get started, I want to mention to you, I've got this brand new course out. It's called 2-5-WIN, and we've been doing this launch sale, 40% off. And if you use the coupon code 25WIN at checkout, you get this 40% discount. Let me put the link. It's just go to bettersax.com and then go to courses, and you'll find that. You'll find the link to the new course, 2-5-WIN, and the course says it's like a PDF, and we're going to work on some stuff out of that today. Comes with a great PDF, but it's also got video lessons for all these different lines, and we have lines that can be used over 2-5-1s, 2-5-1 chord progression, starting on all different notes of the scale and coming out of the jazz language tradition. It's great stuff to practice. You're working on your technique, you're working on your time feel, you're working on playing in all different keys, you're working on language and vocabulary. And then if you do what we're going to do today, which is kind of taking this to another level, you get to work on, how do I turn this stuff that's like exercises, lines that I'm practicing, and turn it into solos? It's not that hard. In fact, everyone can do this. A lot of people think, improvising jazz is so hard, I'll never be able to do it. Everyone can do this. You just need to kind of know what to do in what order. Disclaimer, it takes time. Okay, it's not something you're not going to be able to learn it in a week. But it's the journey that is fun. That's the rewards are in the journey. It's in doing it for years and years and years. That's where the rewards come in. All right, so check out the course, get the discount while that's still going on for the launch. And another announcement is that on Tuesday, everyone who purchases this course is going to have access to this live masterclass. Not this one, another one that I'm going to be doing Tuesday, where we're going to be getting into even more specifics on how to practice this stuff, how to get the best results. Because like you, I've studied all of these things over the course of many years. And what happens is over time and working on it, you find out like, ooh, practicing this, I spent a lot of time and I didn't get such great results, but practicing this, this really worked. So I want to share with you the things that work the best, that get you results, so you're feeling good about the time you've put in practicing. So you may have seen this video I did a couple weeks ago on YouTube. If not, check it out. It's, I think the title of it is, when I started practicing this, everything changed, or something like that. And it's about practicing lines from the jazz vocabulary in all 12 keys. So watch that video to get some more insight into what's happening here. And what we did in that video is I took a line and I played it. So first, this was the line. I have a feeling that you guys couldn't hear me very well all that time because I had my mic off. All right. Audio should be better. Now, here's the line. That's line 1 in the book 2-5 win. Now you can take these lines and do variations on them. So in that other video, I did a variation. Okay, so that is like a tritone substitution. Anyway, watch that video for more information. In this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to take that line and apply it over a standard. And I've chosen Just Friends because Just Friends has a lot of 2-5-1s in it and 2-5s, like many jazz standards do. You could do this on any number of standards, but Just Friends is good because it's got all major 2-5s, and there's a bunch of them. So let me show you this. First of all, this is the new course, 2-5 win. All right, and now I'm gonna show you this. Where are you? There it is. This is just a little worksheet I made up for this particular lesson. And I will make this available. The PDF download of this will be available to everyone inside the course. Anybody who gets the course, you can get this PDF as well for, transposed for all the instruments. Otherwise, you could just screenshot it while you're watching this if you want, and if you want to have it for later. So here's the chord changes to Just Friends in key of concert F. Just Friends starts on the 4 chord, right? And what I've done is I've taken that first line and I kind of plugged it in over all the chords. And what's really interesting to note is like here, right? This first 2 bars, there's not a 2-5-1. We just have this A major 7 chord is in the alto key. But we could still plug the line like this over, because that would be the line if you're playing it over A major 7. So we drop that in there. And very conveniently, the last note of the line, the A here, is the one, is the starting note of doing the line right here on this new 2-5-1, A minor, D7, E major 7. And then I changed the last note of the line, right? It should have ended on the G, on the root of the 1 chord. But our next chord is this E major 7. So I just picked the next note that's a chord tone, the next closest note, which is a G sharp. Okay. Now we leave a little space because in solos, you don't want to just jam pack them full of too many notes. And then on our next 2-5-1 over here, we're going to play our line again. Now, normally we would resolve that to F, the root of the 1 chord. If this is our 2-5, there would be an F major 7 would be our next chord, right? But it's not. It's an F sharp minor 7. So what do? Well, we'll play F sharp. And this time we do have the 1 chord, so we can resolve our line. Now we got another 2-5-1 in another key. Okay, so now normally, so I made an adjustment here. Normally we would play a B here. Okay, that would be the root of that one. Why did I choose to play a C natural? Why would you play a C natural on a F sharp 7 chord? Well, because the C natural is our sharp 11, and I like to play sharp 11s on the 2 dominant chord when it comes around. So And now the last two bars here, we've got these short 2-5-1s. Okay, where they actually don't, well, this one eventually goes to the 1, but this one doesn't. So we just use the first bar of our line. And if we play this whole thing over a backing track, which I'll do right now, you get an idea of how it all kind of fits together and makes sense. Keep in mind, this is just an exercise. This is a way to practice. Like, okay, I've learned this line and I can play this line in all my keys. Now what? Well, this is another way to practice it. Plug your line in over a standard wherever it'll fit. And this is just one example of doing it. And it kind of fits nicely in Just Friends. So let me play this with the backing track. Okay, so hopefully you can hear that okay. And hopefully you can hear that okay, and that gives you an idea of kind of how this works. Now, keep in mind, this is an exercise. I mean, it sounds pretty cool when you do it. You wouldn't necessarily want to play a whole solo where you're just playing 1, 2, 5 a line over the whole thing. But imagine when you know 3 or 4 of these and are able to plug them in over a chord progression. Like, oh, now I can kind of build something that has some variation. What's also a bonus of practicing stuff like this is that it does sound cool when you play the same line, but over different chord changes. So like just in this first 4 bars here, you know, you're playing the same line, but it goes down a whole step. That's like sequencing, and that sounds cool. And having the ability to do that is good and helps you play more interesting solos. Now, you may be thinking, yeah, but then if I'm just learning lines and plugging them in over solos, that's not really improvising, is it? Well, the thing is, what ends up happening when you practice this over time, over the long term, what ends up happening is this knowledge and technique and ability to play so many lines turns into the ability to improvise more freely, but still be speaking the language and using the vocabulary of the jazz tradition. So it's a process, and this is a very effective way to practice the process. So you can try my little example here. Feel free to take any of the other lines that are in the 2-5-1, 2-5-win, course, or anywhere you find them on the internet or in other books. There's lots of resources with these, right? And try plugging a line that you like, that you can play in all 12 keys, over the chord changes to Just Friends or any standard you're working on. It's a great way to practice. When you then go to later improvise, you're not going to be necessarily just plugging that line in. Maybe you will occasionally, and it'll sound good. Now, going to another step. Let's take this to another step. Let's say we now know lots of 2-5-1s, and we know them starting on different notes of the scale. So not just like this one starts on the root, right? But let's say we know one that starts on the 7th, like this one starts on the 7th, and this one here starts on the 3rd, and this one here starts on the 5th. Let's say we know a bunch because we've studied these things, we've practiced them, we know them in all these keys. Because look, we've got lots of keys. We got A major, you've got, what is basically G major, then you've got what's basically F major, then you have E major, then you've got this one going to B major. We got a lot of different keys that we go through that we need to have content for. So let's say we've done that work. We've practiced these things in all 12 keys. Now we want to be able to use multiple 2-5-1s. Well, you can do the same thing, and you could make your solos and plug in, you can write out solos and plug in different lines that you have already learned. Again, it's as an exercise, it's a way to practice stuff so that when you are actually improvising, you won't have to think so much. These things will kind of come out spontaneously, and they will come out in an original way, because when you're improvising, you're unlikely to play everything exactly the way you practice it. Very, very unlikely. In fact, that's quite hard to do. So in this one, these first 2 bars, I didn't put anything. We're just playing chord sounds, going down from the 7th. And that's exactly like, this part here is exactly like the other one, okay? But now, going forward, I took some other lines from the course, okay? And this line here, this one, that wanted to go to F major, right? But there is no F major chord next. It's an F sharp minor. Well, it ends on A, and the A would be the 3rd of F major, but it's also the 3rd of F sharp minor, conveniently. So now we pick another line that starts on the 3rd of the 2 chord and plug that in over this long 2-5, F sharp minor, B7, E major 7. So that's yet another line from the book. And then I wanted to make sure we hit multiple different chord tones. So I chose one that starts on the 5th right here. This is the 5th of the 2 chord in this 2-5. Okay, that one works nicely. And now, once again, we've got these short 2-5s where the 2 and the 5 are in one measure. And since these 2-5s are kind of sequenced the way they are, like this is the 2, the dominant chord is the 2, and now the minor chord becomes the 2. It just, look how nice this works. Okay. And when you have like a big library, a big bag of these lines that you've practiced starting on all the different notes, you point where you end a phrase and you're just on that root of the 2 chord. Oh, well, I've got something ready to go there. And here I ended a phrase and I'm on the 3rd of the 2 chord, and I just don't have to think. Something melodic and that sounds like the jazz tradition will just come to you. Okay. It's all through this process of practicing lines like this, learning them really good in one key, understanding, and it's, part of learning it is understanding, like, okay, this, I'm going up the scale. Now I skip down a note, I go down the scale. Now I jump back up to the root of the 5 chord and I play my bebop scale down. And then here, this part is an enclosure. Okay. It's partly you need to understand all that so that then you can take this information and transpose it into the other 11 keys. At first, when you first do that,
And I've had people tell me, oh, it's so hard. How can I play these things in all 12 keys? Well, it's hard because you never did it before. Everything you've never done before is probably going to be hard. And this is, on the scale of, 1 to really hard, this is, this is towards the hard end. But once you know how to do it, once you do it once, every time after that, you'll be able to do the process more quickly and faster, and you'll gain more from the whole thing. So it takes a little bit of patience with yourself in the beginning, but once you get through that and you take one line through all 12 keys, well, guess what? The next line you take through all 12 keys is going to take you half the time. And then the next line you do might take you, only a quarter of the time as the first one. And then eventually you get to the point where you can learn lines like this, and it might only take you an hour to get through all 12 keys. And then it might, at some point, only take you 5 minutes to take a line through all 12 keys. And then imagine when you're there, oh, now I can just practice anything. I can listen to my favorite recordings and I can hear something that somebody played that I said to myself, oh, I want to play that. Well, it's easy. You learn it, you transcribe the line, then you take it through all 12 keys. And that just becomes a habit. That just becomes a thing that you practice. And, all these interviews that I've been doing over the years, this is something everybody, all the great jazz musicians practice this. And it's not for no reason. They practice it because it works. Also, once you've learned tons of vocabulary like this, well, guess what? Then when you want to make your own vocabulary, you're going to make much more interesting musical lines because it's being built on top of a musical tradition that has been going for generations now, rather than just trying to make stuff up and having it come out of thin air. Okay, so that, I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover in this. And now I just want to see if you guys have any questions. So if you've got any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to take a few questions now. Otherwise, I want to remind you that there's going to be this bonus live masterclass for everyone who is enrolled in the 251 course. And the replay will be there. The replay of this is going to be in the course and on YouTube, but the replays will be there for you. So if you're taking the course and you're finding some of the stuff challenging, or you're wondering, how do I actually approach this? It seems like so much information. I'm going to go over all of that in detail, like exactly my process for practicing these things. We can do it together. And I'll be taking questions. So if you have any questions, like, if anything is not clear to you, I'll be covering that. I'm going to go over step by step exactly the process from beginner to advanced, how you would practice this sort of material to get the maximum results. And of course, do not forget, for I don't know how much longer, probably a couple more days, we're going to do this 40% off for the launch of the new course. All right, so so this is a good question. This PDF is going to be, this one, I just made this one today. This is going to be in the course. So everybody who purchases the course can have access to it, but feel free, like if you want the notes, feel free to just do a screen grab of this from this live stream so you can have those. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope to see you guys, those of you who are members, in the membership area of the BetterSax website. And I hope to see you guys that are enrolled in the course at the live stream that we're going to have on Tuesday. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Get some time practicing in today, and I'll see you guys soon.